Average Joe travels the California Inscape. Season 6, Body Double Trouble. Episode 7, A Farewell to Arms, and Legs, and Heads. Story conceived and written by Penguin Pete. Clyde Wrenn and Dodge Zelko in spring training. Featuring the vocal stylings of This Is Signal, with Asher Ephraim as Spanky. So here, in this abandoned and haunted mental hospital, Spanky and I were blocked by a magical barrier, while Anne and her malevolent twin Zelda were on the other side. Anne had not yet met Zelda, but Zelda had demonstrated to us that she knew plenty about Anne. As we paused to refresh ourselves with a couple tingly breath mints, I pondered the situation. Think like a witch, Joe. Why was she worried about what powers I have? Because then she would know what to expect. So, I should be trying to analyze her specialities likewise. None of this helped me budge the hard bars in front of me, but then, by chance, I took another mint. Not by chance, I'd wanted one. And a bit of peppermint dust, there's the chance, caused me to sneeze. I don't know if it's just me, but I always close my eyes when I sneeze. The mint slipped from my fingers, and I heard it bounce mintily to the floor ahead of me. But why didn't the barrier stop it? I reached out to the barrier. It was solid. I tried it again with my eyes closed, and touched only air. Spanky, it's an illusion. Close your eyes and you can walk right through. That's what her power is based on. She practices illusion. I raced through the blockade, smacking into the real hard walls only a couple of times. I heard Spanky's voice ahead of me.
Yo, buckaroo! She got away through a window. Check outside.
But I knew better. Spanky, the real Spanky, was right beside me. The voice around the corner was more of Zelda's mimicry. We sped around to find them, and we screeched to a stop at what I saw. Instinctively, I dropped to a crouch, with my trusty revolver drawn, pointing at Zelda, on the left. Zelda barely glanced at me, but kept her attention focused on Anne to the right. Anne had her wand drawn and pointed at Zelda, but Zelda was armed only with a handheld mirror, pointed right back at Anne.
What a picture-perfect Malahide standoff. Now I suppose we're to be in a pickle as to which one's the genuine Anne.
Yes, sir. That seems to be the game, all right. Which is which?
It's no use, Joe. You'll have to shoot both of us. It's the only way.
You're holding a mirror. Anne uses a wand.
She took it away from me in the scuffle. Joe, hold your fire. She can deflect your shot right back at you.
I have your tarot deck, Anne. Remember the time I helped you find the treasure's rightful owner back when I worked at the Water Spew that season past? I can tell that you're the true owner of this deck.
Yes, and I can tell Zelda from Anne because you're dressed differently. Anne would not be caught dead in tennis shoes.
Oh, for God's sake. Since when does a man notice a woman's shoes?
But I am no man. I am Joe. That's my power. I notice things.
Looks like your little jig is up, you imposter. Now explain yourself.
You explain yourself. What are you doing in my territory? We didn't know this was your territory. We were working a case in the cemetery. It had nothing to do with you. Nah, I've been following your little detective career. All you guys do is thwart my mentor's plans. Your mentor? No, it can't be. You must mean Raxi Shamastrom? Yes, my mentor, Raxi Strangestorm, Waykeeper of the Left-Hand Path. You're getting awfully close to finding him, but I'll see that he finds you first.
Why is Raxeed Stringslim's last name different every time someone says it?
Guess that's just one more riddle that you're gonna have to figure out with those sharp detective wits of yours. Well, we on the right-hand path are really good at figuring things out. You're in way over your head, sister. I know more occult secrets than you'll ever know exist. You'd better be pretty sure of yourself then. Me, I just let the others do the heavy lifting, so I don't have to waste my life being a nerdy little bookworm. Oh, boo-hoo. Reading is too hard. I'll just get a demon pimp and use his borrowed powers instead of getting my own. Ugh.
Great verbal sparring, everybody. If you want to wrap up the scene, why don't you both shoot her at the same time? She can't deflect both the bullet and the fireball at once.
Great minds think alike, Spanky. Joe, get ready. 1, 2.
But Zelda was about to show us why she dressed so athletically. She leapt backwards, somersaulting through the hospital ward. While I tried to draw a bead on her, Anne zapped off several orange blooms of flame from her wand. But we both missed every time. Zelda flung herself around like a wildcat, a puma, if you will, finally doing a magnificent backflip right through a mirror, which stayed solid, barely rippling as she escaped back into the mirror dimension. We all rushed to the mirror, but all we saw was our defeated selves. Our defeated selves were all we saw. Spanky shattered it with his pickaxe, and there was no sign of Zelda behind it. Meanwhile, Anne's fireballs had started the whole hospital building on fire. We were surrounded by sheets of flame, which set off flaming sheets, towels, curtains, shrouds. Really, it was remarkable to see how much flammable material hospitals keep around. Anne, do you know any spells that put out fire?
Well, unladylike though you might think it, I can spit a decent distance.
After we ran out of the burning and collapsing hospital, there was nothing left but a long walk back to the Reaper's Row Cemetery and Funeral Home to wrap up the case for our client, Howie Hatecraft.
Ah, there you are. I can't tell you how grateful I am. You saved my family business. Here's a check to cover your expenses and fee, and a bonus.
It's all in a day's work for us.
By the holy, I didn't know funeral homes made this kind of money.
Mr. Hatecraft, I hope you're setting aside expenses to repair your property damage. You'll want to fill that whole tunnel under the cemetery with cement.
And what about that disgusting thing the body snatcher left?
Oh, the Necronomicon. Just leave it there and bury it.
Well, if it lets people do disgusting things with dead bodies, why don't we just take it and burn it?
Unfortunately, Necronomicon copies are indestructible. Better to leave it buried under several tons of cement. The harder it is for anyone else to find, the better.
Say, what about the remains of H. Quinn Landry? Just what are you going to tell his widow?
Well, just between us, okay? A vagrant died in the snow in town last night, so when his body came in, we just gave him Mr. Landry's casket, sent it on the flight to Connecticut. What the widow Landry doesn't know isn't going to hurt her.
That's, Oh, well, I guess you know what you're doing.
Mr. Joe, my friend, the graveyard industry is one of necessity. Nobody is in this business because they want to be. We just do what we gotta to make people feel better.
Our last night in Ruby Peaks, we skipped the hotel dinner and had the cabbie drive us to the fanciest restaurant in town. We ordered the priciest items on the menu and popped the cork on the most expensive bottle in the place. But we were too tired and sobered by the experience to have much of an appetite. Anne especially seemed more shaken than she would normally be at the conclusion of a case. I imagine if you meet your evil twin, you never see your own face in the mirror in quite the same way again.
Wonder where that tart is now.
Oh, I'll tell you exactly where she's at. Zelda is displaying her goods, if you know what I mean, in front of one of her demon masters in exchange for a refill of her magic powers. Then I guess she plots her comeback. I'm so glad I'm a bookworm.
Can you fill us in on what her power portfolio is exactly?
Now, deception, shadows, trickery, smoke, and mirrors. Even regular magic is half misdirection after all.
So what part of that lets her look so much like you?
That's just the question I'm moping about. I'm sure we'll find out someday. I'm also sure I don't want to know. Excuse me, I'm going to the powder room.
Now, what does she mean by that? Since when doesn't Anne want to know something?
I have a hunch. Anne's kind of sensitive about this, so don't bring it up with her. But remember in that bit of exposition in Season 5, her father had to make a bargain with the Fae, or she would never have been born. And you know how the Fae always want to slip a little something extra into the bargain.
You think they were separated at birth?
Gives me the shivers. One Anne is enough.
To hell with that doppeldinger then. We'll rout her out when the time comes. Here, let's have a toast. To Ratseed Shamestring. When you have an arch nemesis, you're never out of work.
Shibble Snort.
Slumstrap.
Snowl String.
Slime Storm.
Snicker Snack.
Schnitzel Stomp.
ShamWow.
Spork Splosh.